So after reading the Never Say article by Steve Reinhardt, I came across super important points that I wanted to make note of in this video. The first one is to take time to plan specific questioning techniques regularly. Um, the next one is to change things little by little for continual growth and establish new expectations in your classroom. You don't want to overwhelm students by creating a whole new list of expectations that you expect them to meet. The next thing is never say anything a kid can say, ask questions instead. You don't want to take the students' thinking abilities away from them. You want to allow them to process on their own and answer the questions and not provide statements for them. The next thing is ask questions to gauge where your students are. Open-ended questions are the best. As a teacher, that allows you to figure out how your students are thinking, how they're processing. Getting them to explain the answer back to you and how they came to that conclusion is a really good strategy as well. The next thing is to ask questions that requires students to analyze, reflect, and explain their thinking. You don't want to ask simple yes or no, true or false questions. That just can be a simple guess or just a too easy of a question. So you want to provide questions where students can analyze and where they have to take the time to reflect on what you're asking and to process that information in pieces. And the next thing is to replace lectures with a set of questions. You don't want to bore your students by providing too long of a lecture. So if you provide a lesson that is engaging by asking questions, students are likely to pay greater attention and to also remember what you taught them. The next thing is be patient. You want to allow students sufficient time to contemplate the question and formulate an answer. You want to allow students that struggle processing quickly or students that have lower comprehension abilities to take the time to all think about the question and not allow students to respond too quickly so that everyone can think. The next thing is explain to your students why you ask questions. You want them to know why you're teaching in this way. Just explaining to them, let them know that you care about their success and that that's why you're asking a lot of questions. The next thing is teach for success. Don't ask questions to embarrass and build confidence with your students. You want to make sure you ask questions where students know the answers sometimes so that you don't tear anyone down and just so they can be encouraged to answer questions in the future. The next thing is do not be judgmental and also allow students to process their thinking without repeating what they say. You want to allow all students to think on their own and also be able to listen to one another when they speak. So this is a super important point. The next one is participation is mandatory. Ensure that all students can provide an answer to the question. You want to make sure that each student, even if they're in a group or if they're working with a neighbor, that each of them understands what they're working on and that each of them can provide an explanation to what they're learning. That's super important as well. And last one is use hand signals often to check on students' feelings about their work. You want to make sure that everyone is keeping up and understanding, and providing the thumbs up, thumbs down method is a great way to gauge how your students are doing. So this is great strategies, great important topics that I want to remember to implement in my future classroom. Thank you.